Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So, Rick Ritchie in his house, thank you for letting us know that you invested in yourself today. Not all investment has to do with money. Sometimes it's health. Sometimes it's just plain old happiness. So however you invested, that's all I care about, that you invested in yourself. So what else is going on today? I don't know. Not really any big news, right? Nothing indicating about the economy. PPI, not good. Yeah, not good at all. And then while Powell was speaking, but that's kind of to be expected. I think it's an overreaction. I think it happens more often than not. Do I think it'll recover? Yes. What I'm expecting is tomorrow's Thursday. I'm expecting that it'll recover a little bit tomorrow, Friday timeframe. Friday is a sell-off day, so maybe Monday, Tuesday is when it really picks back up. So long as we don't get any bad news over the weekend, you know what I mean? Certain regime likes to drop bad news over the weekend. We still have an oil issue, so that's still there. Wunderbar. What else we have going on? We have just a lot of stuff going on, right? Rumors had been, just running around all over the place talking about how Powell is thinking about not stepping down until everything is quelled. And guess what? He came out today and he said it out loud, full chested. I'm not going anywhere until the case is done or his contract is up, and whichever one comes first, right? Now, his contract is up in May, but he could be voted in as the chairman, right? Because do you really think Warsh is going to be voted in by May? No. And apparently, they're doubling down on investigating Powell, so he's not going anywhere. And technically, he can be on that board until he can be on the FOMC until 2028. Oops. I think there was a plan. I think they thought he would Paco, and he didn't. And that was unexpected. I mean, I kind of expected it. The man stands his ground every day. He's got bigger problems that he has to deal with every day. Anybody who takes that job, whether you like them or not, has a lot on their shoulders. They're not ready. They're not worried about this petty nonsense. They're not. So he's going to be here for a minute. So either they can stop the court case and then maybe he'll go, okay, cool. Or they can keep going and he'll be like, okay, I'm in it for the long haul. Problem, right? I don't think it's that much of a problem. I don't think it's that much of a problem. Now, when you look at the conflict right now, everybody keeps calling it a war. It's not a war. It's a conflict. Legally, on our side, it's a conflict. It is not a war yet. Most likely it will be. How could he be voted in when U.S. have reserved the right to pick the chairman must be approved? If you don't have an approved chairman, the board can vote in a temporary chairman. That's out. Crazy, right? Yeah. Warsh would have to be approved. And if he's not approved, well, and unless that court case goes away, that's a massive problem for them. Like, not small. So I hear what you're saying. Is what it is. Why do my guys always want to bother me when I'm live? I don't understand. It's the same time every day, or just about every day for the past 4 years. Come on, guys, get it together. I hear what you're saying, but it's freaking a lot of people out. But the research is out there. He actually is a member until 2028. right? So even if they don't vote him as a temporary chairman until somebody gets back, he's still a member. He's still got a voice. Oh, wait a minute. He's not just a member, he's a voting member. That's the other problem. Yeah. Politically, that's another problem. Should just let the man do his job without bothering him, without trying to sully his name. There was no reason for that. There was no reason for that whatsoever. And now you're going to bring up fictitious charges? Even the judge was like, you got to be joking with this, right? And now they're going to try again. Are you serious? He's been nothing but upfront and everything. Like I said, agree with what he's done or not. Nobody's going to be able to convince me that that man is dishonest. It's just not going to happen. I'm not a fan of the feds. And that would to happen, it will put a stain on the Fed's image, which taking him to court or him staying. I firmly believe that trying to bring charges against him is an atrocity. Really is. Really is. And here's what gets me. You put him there. Right? Current regime put him there. And now all of a sudden, because he's not doing what you want him to do, he's all of a sudden, a bad person. I don't know. I don't think there's been a single Fed chairman that's ever gotten everything right. I think they all face the same problems. I can choose to disagree with anybody in that chair. But there's one thing that I will agree to. It's a ridiculously tough job. And you're caught. You take that job knowing that you're in between a rock and a hard place. Right? That's the job, is to manage the balance between the rock and the hard place. Rick Ritchie, I hear you, man. Like I said, I can absolutely disagree with you. But if I understand where you're coming from, as long as I don't think that you're that kind of person, why would I? I'm not going to think you're dishonest in that role. Because that's the only job that I know of, off the top of my head, where every single decision that you make, half of the country is going to think you're wrong. The other half of the country is going to go, good job. And the next decision that you make, that could flip. You don't take this job because you're weak. You don't take this job because you want fame and fortune. The guy only makes like 140 a year. Maybe 140 or 190. I forget what the number was. But he makes less than 200 grand a year doing that job. That job. And he's not like people in Congress where he's out there, making money off of trades. Yeah. They're becoming millionaires and billionaires making money off of information that they're privy to. And it's not called insider trading. It's legal. Shouldn't be, but it is. So the person that takes that job, one, has to already have money, or they don't care about money. They care about doing the right thing. Powell, I think, is in the latter of that group. Don't agree with everything that he does, or agree with everything that he does, or only agree with partial of what he does. Dishonest, that guy. Oh, and every penny that he spends must be approved. Dead serious. It must be approved. That's what makes it asinine. He can't spend money without permission. Just saying. Tonight's question, because it took me so long to get there. Who just paused plans for a massive IPO? Massive IPO. SpaceX, Ripple, Cargill, or other. If it's other, drop it in the comments. 8 pause. What's going on? How are you? Thank you for letting us know that you invested in yourself. So yeah, when I'm looking at everything, I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm saying to myself, wow, we're in weird times. We're in very weird times. But last night I was talking about how there are still a few people that are like, if Warsh does not get approved, if he doesn't get the nod, until somebody gets the nod, that job is still open. So I'm still in public going to do what I'm supposed to do. So an interview yesterday with one of those guys. Sometimes he wears his hair in a ponytail. I think his name is Kevin or something like that. And dude is still interviewing. He's still interviewing. He's, oh, I wouldn't just drop the interest rate. I'd drop it, but not by 25 basis points. I'd drop it by 50. Again, I go back and I say to myself, who are these people talking to? When they decide to make these moves, who are they making them for? The greater percentage of people in this country, or the people that have the greater percentage of money? Yeah, that'll mess with your head for a little bit. Yeah. Because who makes out when interest rates go lower? Interest rates going lower or being lowered by the Fed is at best indirect to regular people. And when I say indirect, I mean down that avenue, around the corner, down that street, 2 blocks and make a left in the alley. That kind of indirect. It's not like interest rates go down and all of a sudden mortgages go down. That's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. We need more people to understand how things work. That would be helpful. Let's get a handle on how things work. That could be an idea. And the reason why I say so is because the more people that understand how things work, when they look at a move like this by this current regime, they'd sit back and they would all go, that's ridiculous. And let's suppose everybody in the country hated Powell. The move makes him dig in his heels, does it not? And there's the problem. There is your problem. You're literally telling this guy, go ahead and dig in your heels. If you'd have left him alone, he probably goes away. If you'd have just left him alone, because that's the tradition. When your chairmanship is up, even if you still have time, you normally step away. That's been the tradition for eons. But because of this, he's not doing that. So like I said, whether you like him or not, this doesn't play to anybody's favor. I mean, at some point, would I like to see the interest rates go down? Yeah. Because my brain is still stuck on how it affected things in the past. Right now, I believe that we're dealing with a level of greed that we have probably never truly understood until now. A lot of people probably sitting there going, "You're crazy, man. You're crazy. That's insane, man." I want you to think about something. Micron tripled revenue. Tripled revenue. Micron makes RAM, makes DRAM. The kind of DRAM that everybody needs for AI, for just about everything. They raised prices for a while. They just kept raising prices. And did they raise prices because of demand? Or no, let me rephrase. Did they raise prices because of scarcity? No, they raised prices because of demand. Cool. You do you. But then you decided, oh, we're not gonna do retail anymore. We're straight up not gonna do retail anymore. We're going straight after the data centers and everything else. I'm not gonna say it's a conspiracy, right? Hey, Ham's House. Thanks for letting us know you invested in yourself. I'm not gonna say it's a conspiracy. But I find it to be funny that everything is pointing toward making it difficult for you to do what I used to do all the time. When I needed a new computer, I would go buy the parts and put it together. Yeah, I'm that kind of geek. I would go buy the parts and put it together. So my son has a gaming system upstairs. He paid for it, and him and his dad put it together. So he can get an understanding about how all this stuff works, what to look for. Yeah, you really can't do that now. Or you can, but the amount of money that it would cost you is ridiculous. His box with a, what is it, a 5060 or something like that in his box? Crazy amount of RAM. I mean, we've got bandwidth in this house. That's ridiculous. So I'm not worried about that. But that box cost him only $1,500 when we put it together. $1,500. That box now? Oh, yeah, nah. He's not building that box. It's like 2 times that now. Yeah. Everything's leading you toward, we don't want you to have your own computers anymore. Or, we don't want you to be able to put together your own computers anymore. Have you been looking at everything right now? Everything is a pre-packaged box that's very difficult for you to open up. Very difficult for you to work your magic. Increase the clock speed, solder this, do that, Yeah, no, that's not happening. Even Apple, they came out with that super duper MacBook, right? What'd they do? Yeah, you're not opening up that laptop to do anything to it. That's not happening. That is not happening. So we're at the hands of, like I said, a level of greed that, has it existed before? Yes, but has it been so just brazen? Tripled your revenue by raising prices. Not because of scarcity, but straight up just because of greed. You just wanted to make more money. That's great. Are you going to anniversary that? I don't think so. I don't think so. I really, really, really don't think so. I think it's going to be a massive problem for them in the future. They'll probably do well for the next few months and everything else like that. But when AI just goes, that's going to be a problem. The All In podcast. Bunch of billionaires that sit around and wax fantastic about everything that affects them. Nothing that affects us, everything that affects them. Totally different mindset. That's why I watch them. I want to know how they're thinking. But I digress. Looking at AI, these guys are like, I'm spending like $100,000 per person on AI. $100,000 per person. At what point do you start realizing that and by the way, the token prices that you're seeing now, those are not full price. Can't be. Those are not full price. Those are the prices that they're charging right now, but that's not full load. When it gets to be full load, you're going to ask yourself, how? How? Went to get a computer built at a computer shop for trading, but the Y told me now is not the time because of the tariffs. Aw, they're blaming it on the tariffs. Well, yeah, it's going to have to do with tariffs too. But so it's a combination of tariffs and greed. Well, I guess tariffs, the part of greed, right? Those tariffs never should have happened. Never should have happened. Greatest deal maker on earth, and you have to resort to tariffs because nobody's listening. Oh, okay. Not trying to be mean. I'm just pointing out the obvious. So yeah, now is not a good time to do that. It's not. What you do is you go see, you can't even do that anymore. I was going to say, go see, what offices are, what offices are getting rid of computers, things like that. But you can't even do that because offices normally don't sell to individuals. They sell it to a company, and that company does what they do and they sell it. I know of a law firm. CIO lives across the street from me. They were revamping everything. Oh, can I buy a couple of those computers? No, we have to sell it to this company. And by sell, I mean practically give it away. I mean like pennies, split pennies on the dollar. So yeah, it's no joke. It is absolutely no joke. And if you want a computer for trading, because you're going to want the video cards so you can have multiple monitors. You're not going to want just one monitor. You're not. So it takes a lot. So we are hampered by greed. Can't build your own box. Wow. You're going to have to go buy one. And you were having one built because buying one, those prices, that's a kidney and 2 kids. Dead serious. Kidney and 2 kids. So yeah, I don't see. Hey, 8 pause. I don't see where Rick Ritchie, did his vote. So you have to say who you're voting for, young lady. Don't make me do it. I'll put you on timeout. I will absolutely put you on timeout. So yeah, when I look at everything that's going on right now, PPI is not good. I mean, the conflict is obviously having an effect on the economy. And he said so. And tariffs are having an effect on the economy. Lowering rates does not do what it used to do back in the day, where if you lower rates, companies can borrow money at a cheaper price. Now they've got more money for float and to do things. And some of those things usually are, let's go hire a few people. Jobs. What's going on right now? Yeah, nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. They all fired everybody because AI. The lie. That's the lie. We're firing all these people because of AI. No, you're not. No, you're not. I'd rather hear you say, we're going to have massive layoffs because we're rejigging the organization. We're focusing on this and not that anymore. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I'd rather hear that because that tells me you have a plan, right? It tells me you have a plan. AI in consumer level AI, which is where we are now, has been around for 3 years. And you mean to tell me that now is when you're firing people because of AI? Now. Really? That's interesting. You think it was cracking. You think it was cracking. And you get to go to the corner first. You want to know why? Because you can't be having people looking over your shoulder, allowing people to cheat off you during the class test. Nah, you go to the corner. And both of you go to the corner. And Rick Ritchie, I'm going to tell your mama. There you go. There you go. So yeah, all jokes aside, we're not moving the way we used to move. The economy is not moving the way it used to move. I firmly believe that how we used to do things is not necessarily how we should be doing things going forward. It's clear that just because companies have more money doesn't mean that they're going to hire. It just means that their shareholders have more money. Think about that. We have so many things that are wrong with the current economy. Even if you pay no mind to how we got here, we're here now. We're here now. And it's never enough. It's never enough. You're pulling a profit. Fire them anyway. Who do you want to fire? Whoever. Just cut by 50, cut by 20, cut by whatever percentage. Just cut. Oh, because you thought they sat around and they said who's doing what and how it gets done, and we're going to get rid of the people that are less productive. No. 99 times out of 100, that's not what happens. That's not what happens. I can walk into any company and look at who's been laid off and who still has a chair, and I guarantee you I'm going to find a good percentage of people who have a chair that shouldn't, and a good number of people that don't have a chair that should. Want to hear something that's even more funny? Most of the people that I would get rid of that have a chair, they're not the Indians. They're the chiefs. I'd be getting rid of a lot of chiefs. What do? I mean, Citi had it right. Jane Fraser had it right. She went from like 16 layers. The number of layers at Citi was like in the teens. That's deep. And she crunched that down. She was like, yeah, we don't need so much of that management. You people are actually going to have to work. I was speaking with somebody from another firm, and they were like, yeah, we kind of move so slow. I was like, you want to know why you move so slow? Because there are so many layers, so many people can hide, and everything just gets dragged out. Because the longer you drag it, the longer they have a job. Move quickly to get things done? Are you serious? The larger the organization, the longer it takes to get things done. Yep. Very few organizations move the way they're supposed to move. So now one of the factors that I've built into how I analyze companies is what level of greed do they have? Like, I'm going to have to come up with a greed index. And how would I measure a greed index? Is it profit versus number of people fired? Because if you're pulling a profit, overseas, if you're pulling a profit, you can't fire people. Right? Makes sense, right? You're pulling a profit and you're firing people? Nah. Retrain them. Do something. Fire them? Yeah, nah. Go try again. So we have a lot of news. Arizona AG Chris Mays, sorry, I thought there was an R there. There's not. Chris Mays charged Kalshi with illegal gambling. We got that. Kalshi fired back. That's overreach. So your argument isn't that you're not gambling. Your argument is it's not their jurisdiction. I want you to let that sink in for a minute. And by that argument, you're actually making the argument for Chris Mays, right? Because if your only argument is it's overreach because we are regulated by the CFTC, not that we're gambling. Well, that means that you have not said that you're not gambling, which means that you're gambling, and gambling happens at the state level, kid. They tried to get around states so that they didn't have to deal with that. They saw the lesson that happened in so many ways. Here's legalized gambling, and each state has its own rules. Nobody wants to manage 50 rules. Nobody. But if you want to make that big money, because you're basically opening up a casino in every state, aren't you? It's not like you're in Vegas or Atlantic City or Tahoe or wherever. You're opening up by having something online that everybody can reach. You're basically opening up a gambling spot, a casino in every state. And like I said, they're at a point where countries are telling them, no, you cannot operate here. We have a gambling problem here. And no, we don't want you. Makes you stop and think. I mean, I can tell you now, I'm not a fan. I'm pretty sure you all know. I'm not a fan of Kalshi. I'm not a fan of Polymarket. I'm not a fan of anything that's going to drive gambling up. Gambling? Okay, I can deal with that. It's cool. I'm not mad at anybody in Vegas or, wherever it is that you have legalized gambling. I'm not mad at anybody over that. Nope. I'm mad that you're trying to masquerade as something else when all you are is gambling. That tells me you're kind of shady. That means you're willing to do shady things. I mean, I want you to stop and think about this. Was it Kalshi or Polymarket that allowed, betting on war? Betting on missile strikes? Betting on death? And you practically had to be told, that's not cool, man. That's not cool. You had to be told that. Yeah, that reeks. That reeks. And so one of the other reasons why I'm not a fan of these prediction markets is because you have a lot of people turning toward these prediction markets for investment purposes. Oh, but they're so accurate. No, they just happen to coincide. They're not accurate. They just happen to coincide at that moment. Just because I make a bet doesn't mean I believe. And people don't see that. They don't understand that. So my fear is that these prediction markets are leading people just to say, oh, it's all betting, which means that they don't go get educated in what they're doing. And you know how I feel about that. So even if you said playing with stocks, bonds, options, crypto is all gambling. Even if you say that, hold that thought. Even if you say that, don't gamblers learn how to play poker? Then don't they go learn about what they're gambling on? Huh. But people in these predictive markets, that's not what they're doing. It's not. They're just straight up just betting. And I think that leads us to a place that's not good for anybody. It's not good for society at all. So, Kalshi? Yeah, I hope you lose. I hope you lose miserably. That's straight up serious. It's not that I don't like you as people, but yeah, I don't. You're shady to me. You're absolutely shady to me. Wyoming Senator Cynthia Lummis thinks that the Clarity Act is coming close. Like this time, it's close. Wyoming Senator Cynthia Lummis expressed optimism for digital asset market structure bills for the bill's passage, despite Senate delays with House approval back in July. I still think there's a problem. The lingering problem, by far, the lingering problem is banks don't want stablecoins to pay yield because they don't want to be forced to match that. And these stablecoin operators are saying, well, you don't have to match. You can just keep doing what you're doing. Right? You do you, we do we, and we let the customers decide. Banks don't want to step that up. They don't want to share their profits. You know how much money that would shave off if they had to go from 0 point whatever that they're paying out to 5% to match some of these stable coins? Ooh. Oh. Guffaw. Yeah. In Arizona, casinos are legal on indigenous lands. Kalshi just got called out that they are competing with casinos. Oh, yep. Chris Mays, that's what I'm talking about. They're shady. You can't tell me they're not shady. You're making every wrong decision that you could possibly make. To me, that is shady. To me, that is absolutely shady. To have to tell you that certain bets should just straight up not be allowed? Wow. When I started this channel, what did I tell you guys? These videos are for my kids. I need my kids to learn. I need my kids to understand how it works. And then run out there, go do their own research, know their entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. But Daddy wanted to set the ground rules for them. Give them a foundation. And here you are just running around telling people, kids, go look at how young these people are on Kalshi, on Polymarket, on Myriad, on all these little prediction markets. The age range spans the gamut. These people are, I think for the most part, these people are not doing their own research. They're ill prepared. Literally straight up gambling. If you want to say so, I bet on the stock market. I bet on crypto. But I don't know. I mean, put your money in the S&P 500. I mean, what are you looking at? Anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20%, depending on the year that you're looking at. How many years has it actually been down? Not many. Huh. Okay. And you start to realize you're learning. You're doing research about everything that's out there. Digging deep. You see something like that and you're kind of like, yeah, I hope they lose. I hope they lose miserably. I would be fine if they said, we're an online casino that enables you to bet on various topics 24/7. That's more straight up. Thank you for letting me know where you come from. But every morning I get up and I turn on CNBC and I listen to CNBC talk about the odds. The odds. Kalshi's odds say that blah, blah, blah is or is not going to happen. Odds. Odds. I don't know. Gambling. That's a gambling term. Yeah. Just my 2 cents. S&P Dow Jones licensed its S&P 500 index to trade XYZ for perpetual futures contract on Hyperliquid. I told you, Hyperliquid's not playing games. Hyperliquid is serious. They shot up and they're just continuously doing their thing. I mean, right now they're still ranked at number 10. They have a $10 billion market cap, a $10 billion market cap in a down, in a down kind of market, in a bear kind of market. A market that to me is in stagflation right now. Yeah, go look it up. Stagflation. It's here. Yay! Not yay. Not yay. Not yay at all. Hard times. The only people that are talking about, oh, the markets are doing so well and blah, blah, blah. Wah, 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 wah. The only people that are saying that are the people up here. The people up here are saying, oh, I voted right. The people down here are like, nah. Yep. Yo, Hutanic, thanks for letting us know you invested in yourself. So yeah, you start to realize, you want to know what else is going on? I'll just read it to you. Swiss private equity firm Partners Group chairman Stefan Meister warned private credit default rates could double due to AI-driven economic disruption. True. And citing historically low rates, 2.6% annually, and recent bankruptcies like First Brands and Tricolor, with JP Morgan, BlackRock, and Blackstone facing financial strain. Yeah. Blue Owl's in that mix. There are a few companies in that mix. Started here, went over to the UK. Yeah, I told you about this stuff. Just saying. Gotta pay attention to the news. You had Bhutan sell about $72.3 million in Bitcoin in the current market. I guess they needed the money. 72 million? I mean, less than 1,000 BTC. Over 24 hours, though, so that was quick. That was quick. Lettuce hands. Unless they needed the money, lettuce hands. Wet, drippy paper hands. Not paper mache, just paper. Just wet, soggy newspaper. I don't understand how people are doing this. SBI Holdings, SBI VC Trade launched a USDC lending service in Japan, allowing retail users to lend up to 5,000 USDC under fixed-term agreements, marking a milestone in stablecoin adoption and risks like counterparty exposure. Yeah, because it's not regulated yet. It's not all the way there yet. But the fact that you can do that now, wow. Yup. And then Algorand, an oldie but a goodie, they laid off 25% of their staff. Algorand Foundation cut 25% of its workforce amid crypto market challenges despite a 2.9% RWA growth. Real world assets being done on Algorand. Growth. Also, Algo's value fell 98% from its 2019 peak. And that tells me they don't think that they're going to make it back. Algorand's not a bad platform. I'll tell you that. But down 98%. Algo's got problems. Algo's got massive problems. Let me see. ALGO. Currently ranked number 63. Market cap of 802 million. 802 million. Think about that. Wow. You're in the top 75 coins, top 100 coins, right? And you're less than $1 billion right now. The range of the, because on Grow My Bag, we have a range of the top 250 coins. Top 250. Yeah. Scurry. Wow. I'm just saying, you look at the news and you start to realize, holy moly, are these opportunities or are they not? Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. That's why you do your own research. This is why I keep telling you guys, you must have your own risk matrix, right? You have your own risk framework so that you understand how you actually move. Not on a whim the way most people do. How you actually move when you've given things thought. The more you know, the quicker you can act. Just saying. Just saying. Dante Disparte proposed a UK crypto regulatory model blending the EU MiCA with US stablecoin frameworks to create one framework. Good luck with that, son. Good luck with that. He's from Circle. Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to work. I do not think that's going to work. Tempo, backed by Stripe and Paradigm, launched its mainnet with Machine Payments Protocol, MPP, for autonomous system transactions. Are you paying attention? Yeah, that's basically the same thing that Coinbase did. They're saying, Coinbase, we're your competitors. That whole X402 thing, yeah. Because agents are going to be spending our money. Agents hacking agents is scary. I don't think I'll be doing that. Not me. No. Nah, that's a silly idea. That's a silly pet trick. No, I'm good off that. I'm absolutely good off that. I'm fine not doing it. That's insane. That is insane. I'm still tripping over Micron's triple the revenue. And I can't help but to put together that story that says graphics cards are expensive, CPUs are expensive, hard drives are expensive. That's right, hard drives went up in price. And RAM, if you can get it, expensive. They don't want you to have your own. They do not want you to have your own. So that makes me stop and wonder, well, who's got technology out there that's going to bring it back to people that want to build their own stuff? I'm interested in investing in that tech. Dead serious. Dead serious. What else is there? It's 8:46. You think I should answer the question tonight? I think I should answer the question tonight. Who just paused plans for a massive IPO? SpaceX, Ripple, Cargill, or other? It is indeed Kraken. It is indeed Kraken. Smart move. Wait a little bit. Hold up. They're in no rush. They're in no rush. An IPO, that's a payday for all the people that are holding stock that have been believing in this company for a long time. That's all it is. The cash that would... If you want to pay attention to something else, something that I've been looking at is NVIDIA. Everybody's like, oh, NVIDIA's got, an additional 500 million. 500 billion, my bad. In additional projected sales for 2027. 500 billion this year, 500 billion next year, 1 trillion. That's news they delivered today. Now they have to deliver. Hold that thought. Getting there. How many times do you think they can continue to keep going up? How many times? At some point, they're going to stumble. At some point, they're going to... And somebody... I read an article and they were like, well, they just announced $500 billion in projected business, like on the waiting list, and it barely moved the needle. How many trillions of dollars is that company worth? And you're thinking that they're going to move the needle big time each time? That's not how it works. Sometimes I wonder who the heck they're talking to. They need retail to get into the stock market so that institutions can make money. That's how that works. Kraken not going IPO right now, not a big deal. Not a big deal. 10% Hutanic? What's 10%? What do you mean by 10%? So you start to realize, if you start digging deep, do I want to invest in NVIDIA or do I want to invest in the next NVIDIA? You're not writing in whole sentences. I can't understand 10% and then 500 billion inflow. I don't understand what you mean. What's the correlation there? Give me one sentence that tells me what you mean, so I can understand, so I can keep up. Because obviously I'm missing something. I hate missing stuff. But you start to realize, holy moly, these stocks are not going to move the way they used to move. Period. Okay? When the stock hits a certain point, they're not going to be able to keep saying better, 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 and that jump keep being so big. I don't think that's going to happen. I do not think that's going to happen, and I think that there's going to be a problem when AI is not the only thing. They introduced Nemo. 10% is the move up off of 500 billion on 5 trillion market cap. Barely moved the needle. It'll settle back down. You're not going to move the needle the way they used to. Look what we did. Look at what we did. I think they have some funny accounting going on. Legal, still funny. I mean, even they said we have to get a little bit more transparent. It kind of says a lot. We're adopting a more transparent reporting structure. That says a lot. Like, a lot. So yeah, I find that to be very interesting. That's how you describe it. So just saying. Am I interested? Do I like NVIDIA in terms of the products that they have and all that good stuff? I'd probably like them more if they actually supported their products better. Anybody who's ever worked with NVIDIA chips, which they got the nod from both Washington and China that they can sell H200s to China. Cool. And remember, they were counting China as a zero to their income. So they front ran that, right? To say, we're not making money off of China because everything that's going on, we're not making money off of China, blah, 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 blah. Smart. Because now when China comes back in and they make those big orders, that's their next big, hey, we did a good job. That's their next big one. But like I said, at what point does AI just implode and everybody go, oh, that was not fun. That ride was not fun. I'm telling you, there are too many companies out there that are reliant on that. And it makes you stop and wonder. OpenAI ads, the erotic stuff. This is what you have to resort to make money? Okay. All right. I guess. You okay? I don't think so. DXY is so strong that the news is designed to create exit liquidity for early investors of NVIDIA, in my humble opinion. I would agree with you. Those who are in first, going to be out first, and everybody else is where they're making their money. It's pretty much it. So yeah, so all this news, deeper articles, all that good stuff, all on growmybag.tv. They're all over there. So go read them. There's more information. There's way more information. And it's something to think about. I'm still tripping over the idea that MasterCard just bought its way into crypto cleanly. Zero Hash said no, and with a quickness, they turned around and bought somebody else. Wow. So is there going to be another purchase? There's got to be another purchase. Absolutely. There's no way in the world that there's not going to be another purchase. That's insane. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, hit the hypes and definitely smash the likes. We need to grow our community a lot more. At this time right now, we still need to grow the community. It's the only one that actually cares about how much you're learning, how much you're investing in yourself. It's kind of a big deal. Why do banks have a seat to crypto? I don't understand what your question means. I don't get that at all. Indeed, they did. Their partner is a Ripple partner. banks don't have a seat to stock markets. I still don't know what you mean. Good night, Rick Ritchie. I still don't know what you mean by that. Have a seat too? I don't understand what you mean. And their investments say they have a stake. Now, you just answered your own question then. If that's your answer, you just answered your own question. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. I'll be back tomorrow morning for the daily at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.